Hello, hello. Welcome. We are on a speed build today, and we are in Copperdale, of all places, and we are building on the Golden Peak lot. So, yeah, I don't build a lot in Copperdale, mostly because the lighting is bad. Well, yeah, it's just kind of quite dark in Copperdale, so it's not the best of building areas. But I wanted to do something that was quite high school years forward, and I also wanted to do a few other packs as well. So it's not just going to be high school years. I actually limit this build to game packs only. So it's like your Snowy Escape, Eco Living, City Living, Get Together, all of those ones. So yeah, so those are the only packs I use. So no expansion packs and no kits and no stuff packs. Not that we get any new stuff packs these days, but none of those. It's just those few packs there is what we're building with today. So I'm just working out the outside of the house and how that's all going to lay out. And I think this is a decent sized lot, so it's a 30 by 30 lot, so we could fit like a decent sized house on here. And I think we're going to have a little bit of space for a backyard too, which is going to be nice. It's always good to have some space for the kids to run around and that sort of thing. And it is quite a modern shape in the build. As you can see, we've got the flat roofs and that sort of thing. So I always associate the flat roofs with either your sort of Art Deco or I mean, obviously modern houses and that sort of thing. And who else has flat roofs? I mean, you see it on like some parts of Gothic roofs, and sometimes in like your Middle Eastern style roofs as well. They can have like flat roofs. But anyway, I'm getting distracted talking about roofs. I spend a lot of time like looking at roofs since I really got into building in Sims 4. Like, I haven't been building for that long in Sims 4 really. I sort of just started really getting into it last year, and I had so much fun with it, and I just got really addicted to it. But I'm still very much learning as well, but I think I've gotten pretty decent at it. I'm okay at it. So yeah, but yeah, I do spend a lot of time thinking about roofs, like looking at different roofs around the street and that sort of thing. You know, you look at the neighbour's house and it's like, oh yeah, that's an interesting roof shape, or nah, that's pretty boring, or you know, oh, I could use that. That's quite a nice shape. So yeah, am I the only one that does that? Am I the only one that's a roof nerd? So I'm just building a chimney at the moment. So I really liked that there was like a nice matching chimney to go with the stone, but it took me a minute to realise that there was a matching chimney to go with the stone. I was like, oh no, hang on, there's something that matches. I'm going to use that instead. Ah, dear, oh dear. Always discovering new things. But yeah, nice to find something that actually matches. But chimneys can be tricky in the sense that getting things A, to match, B, to sit properly, and C, if you're using like a half chimney and putting like another chimney inside or something like that. Anyway, I'm sure there's lots of tricks to chimneys that I've still yet to learn, but I find chimneys can be a little bit tricksome. So now I'm just going to work on what colour I want the outside to be, and it's because of the lighting is a little bit tricky. I found it a little bit hard to work out what colours I wanted to do, because they kind of like almost blended into each other in some ways, even like they had like different textures and stuff. So it did take me a little bit of fussing around just to work out what colours I wanted to do, because it is a modern home, so you know, you can have the different sections in different colours. But yeah, I think I was really happy with how that turned out, because I wanted that little bit off to the side to be a different colour from, you know, from the larger section off to the left. So, and then obviously the middle one just to break that up. So, and then you have the fun job of trying to work out what colour roof you want. Because at this stage I've got quite a dark roof, and then you've got to work out what colour you want on the decking as well, and how that all sort of balances and works, and if it's in the shades that sort of work with the colours that you've got on the walls. And dear, I did struggle with that quite a bit, but I was really happy with how that all turned out in the end. I think it looks quite good. But just yeah, making sure that I use the different textures, and like having the bricks and the woods and that sort of thing on the walls. And around the front there is like a little garden, so a sunken garden, if you're wondering what that is. So that's going to be a sunken garden, and I'm just cleaning out the inside of the house at the moment. So just getting rid of all the extra walls, and now working out my floor plan. Now the kitchen, I'm just trying to think where that. I mean, more often than not, I'll put the kitchen off to the right. I'm just looking at my hand as I say that, because I've always had trouble with my lefts and rights. Like, I know them, but when I'm actually thinking about it, I'm like, okay, left is this side, and I do like the little L shape with your finger and your thumb, and yeah, anyway. My difficulties with lefts and rights aside, I'm pretty sure I'll put the kitchen off to the right, but yeah, I can't quite recall. I actually did this build a little while ago, and I'm just sort of coming back to it now as I catch up and have time to have a look at it. I was really happy with how this one came out, but it has been a while, so forgive me for not remembering. I mean, not that I would probably remember anyway, because I have a terrible memory, but yeah, forgive me for not remembering the full layout. But I'm pretty sure the kitchen is off. Yeah, the kitchen is off to the right there. And I did have to fuss around with the windows a little bit, because obviously on the roof we've got the raised platforms as roofs. Some windows are simply not going to work on the upper walls, and I wanted this to be quite open and bright and light with lots of windows and stuff, because that's again quite a modern thing, is to have all the open windows and have so much light coming into your home. So yes, that's what I went for with the windows. And yeah, as I said, just fussing around with just trying to work out what windows would work in what areas with the platforms on the top area. So I'm just getting some columns in to hold up my roof onto the bottom deck, and I just wanted quite a large deck around the front as well. I thought that would be quite cool. And as you can see, I am changing the colors again because I wasn't fully happy with the dark brown, so I ended up going lighter, yeah, and changing the stairs to a lighter colour. I actually think I used the high school living stairs there, I think. No, I changed back to the Seasons one. But I did go with a lighter roofing. And I actually was quite happy with that, because I thought it brought out the colour of the walls a little bit more, and kind of worked with the lighter part of the middle part of the buildings too. So yeah, I was quite happy with that. And I'm just putting the trim around the edge of the upstairs balcony area, just so that there isn't that grey line that runs underneath. And now we've got the fun job of working out what fencing we're going to use. So I think that's the Seasons fencing that I'm using, and that lovely mid brown that I absolutely love. I use that colour quite a lot because it's one of my favourites. And I'm just fencing off the backyard there, so we're going to have a nice little sectioned off yard area for the kiddies. Then we've got the problem of working out what gate we're going to use. So that's always a perpetual problem for me, because a lot of the big fencing doesn't have matching gates. So it's like, well, what gate do I put there? So honestly, it took me so long just to work through what I wanted to do with the gates, and I sort of look at it and be like, nah. And yeah, I do get there eventually, I promise. But it just wasn't kind of like the match that I hoped it would be. Like, I wanted to kind of like match it in with the fencing, but yeah, I couldn't get that exact match that I was happy with. So I got something that I was happy with in the end, but it just wasn't the match that I had in my head that would work. So yeah, you work with what you got sometimes, and I think it looks quite nice at the end of it. So we're just going to move to the front little garden here, and it is like a little confined garden space in a not shrunken in a oh, what's the word I'm looking for? Dipped area. The word is not dipped, but you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. So I just went with like quite a colourful mix of different plants. I didn't go with a particular theme in the backyard this time. I thought, with it being quite a sort of natural, almost rustic, modern home, I thought wildflowers in different shades would look quite cool. So I went with different things and just kind of a more wilder style, I guess, Englishy kind of garden in this one. And I mean, you know, I always like having a lot of colour running through my gardens, so, you know, that's very me. So just filling the front little corner of the yard with some trees and some more flowers going around the bottom. As you know, I like to do daisies around the bottom of trees. It's just my thing. I like it, so I do it. And then I am going to put in the matching mailbox. I think that mailbox actually was kind of perfect for the house because it worked so well with all the flowers around it. So yeah, I don't really like that mailbox, but I just don't get to use it that often. So we're around the back and just working on where we're going to sit all the barbecue area. And you'll probably might or might not notice that I do forget to put a door in on the top balcony, but I will come back to that and fix that off camera. So it'll be fixed when you get it up on the gallery, but for the sake of this particular speed build, you won't see me do it because I forgot. Yep. Oh dear. Oh well, that's okay. And I think I left a lamp in front of the wardrobe as well, which you'll see a little bit later, and I do fix that too. So there were a couple of things I needed to fix post build, but we got there. So anyway, just looking at what we're building around in the yard now. So I did think, because this is kind of going to be 3 bedrooms, I think it is, that we would need something for kids, because it kind of made sense that you'd have kids in this sort of home. Yes, it's going to be 3 bedroom. So I'm making some room for kids stuff in the backyard garden, so they've got some nice little places to play. And I mean, I didn't know that adults can lounge in that little pool as well. So it's not just for kids, you know, because there isn't a pool in this build. There is no pool in the backyard. So that's it. That little kiddie toddler pool is it for this particular family. Whoever moves in here, they just have to lounge in the kiddie pool. So just bringing some more of the beautiful bright flowers round to the back garden. I'm just using the pattern of the terrain paint to make out the edge of the garden and how that's going to flow. So yeah, that's what I do. Now we're moving inside and I am working on the fireplaces. So there's going to be a fireplace down in the dining area and a fireplace up in one of the bedrooms, the master bedroom. And as is often my way, I am building in the dark because I just always forget to put lighting in. And there we go. I remembered, hooray! Good for me. So you sort of get a sense of the layout there, and I'm going for the snowy escape kitchen, basically, with the counters and stuff there, and I will put in some breakfast bars running around from the outside of the kitchen. I think it's a good sized kitchen as well, so yeah, I was really happy with how much space there was in the kitchen. And then that's going to be like a little dining area there with the windows and the fireplace. I did think about whether or not I had that sort of shut off and that sort of thing, but it just seemed quite, I don't know, it's quite narrow already with when you come in the entrance, and then you sort of got the stairs and then you got a hallway, but having that cut off for so much longer was like a big long narrow hallway, and I just kind of wanted to open that up a little bit. So Yeah, that's what I did. And so we've got the breakfast bar there, and then I'm actually going to put in a actual bar in behind that. So it's going to be like your kitchen, your bar, and your dining area. So it's like a really nice little social area, which I think is quite cool. And just using the base game bar ended up being the best match for the snowy escape stuff. And I'm just fussing around with the stairs and just using the seasons stairs and railing there, which matches the outside of the house, so that makes sense. In behind the stairs, we're going to put a study. So we've actually just got a full sort of study / hobby room going in there, which I think is great. I mean, it could have been another bedroom, so this could easily be a 4-bedroom home. You just need to delete this out and put in another bedroom, but I decided to go for a study because it makes it a lot more practical for when you're playing. So, you know, you can come in here and you can do some reading on the bookshelf, and there's going to be a computer going in here, and a few other bits and pieces. So it's nice and practical to play as well. And don't go too crazy on the old clutter. I mean, the clutter I love, it looks awesome, but I do understand from a practical play point that it's not always easy to work around. But it just depends on your different preferences, really. I mean, you know, I love a nice flowery garden. That's my preference. So I just got a computer desk in there, and with a fancy computer, and I'm just working out how to add in the chess set is what I'm looking for, the chess table, and I've got a flower arranging table going in there as well, just for something different. Why not? I mean, it's a good lucrative hobby to have. And I'm changing the chess set because I wanted to change the colours that were running through this room. So you see, I sort of go for shades of yellow. It's kind of like I want to say a mustardy yellow, but it's not exactly a mustard. It's kind of, I don't know, it's an odd yellow, but I quite like it. I think it actually ended up working out quite nicely for the room. I do need to go back through and change all the colours, or actually add the colours in the room, but I think I end up doing that a little bit later. Now this lounge, oh boy, this lounge, I had a lot of, because it's a big square, like I find that actually quite difficult. Like if you have like a bit more of a shaped room, it can be easier just to work around it, but like when you've got a square to work with, it's like, oh, how do I fill this space, and how are things going to sit, and what are the angles, and yeah. It took me quite a long time to work out how I wanted to shape this this particular living space, because by the time you put the TV and stuff in, and you've got the couch, but then I had the space behind the couch because it was like too long, because I couldn't have the couch all the way right at the back of the room, because that was going to be too far away from the TV. I was like, no, that's too far, I can't have that. So yeah, it was kind of like quite a funny balance, this particular living space. And when I finish it, it doesn't look like I spent ages on it. But I did spend ages on it. Because I mean, I like how it came out, but yeah, it just took me so long to get there. And sometimes it's a bit of a process just working it all out and how you're gonna sort of use that space. And you know, as you can see there, I'm sort of going back to the drawing board a little bit and changing which furniture I use, and yeah, how that's all going to space out. I actually really like the furniture that I ended up choosing, and I was actually quite happy with what I did with that particular corner off by the what's it called? You know, that music thing. I don't know, there's a name for it. I can't remember it right now. But yeah, I actually was quite happy with that little nook, and I think there's quite a lot of things that you can do in this house, and so it's quite a practical house. You could like easily play in it, which I think is cool. But yeah, this little living area was just frustrating for me. But yeah, so I ended up putting like a little dance floor in there, and I thought that was quite cool, because I mean, it's quite an entertaining, like this bottom floor is quite a good entertaining space. And you got your cross-stitch stuff going in there beside there, and that's the advantage of, I guess, of having like a game pack only builders. There's quite a few different hobby things that you can throw into a build as well, which is quite neat. Yeah, anyway, so like put in a dance floor in by the stereo, and I've got a little garden nook in the back area too, so I kind of got distracted. I was like, oh, hang on, should this be like cut off and that sort of thing? But I fussed around with it for a little while and then just left it the way it was. You know, sometimes you just shouldn't mess with a good thing. Yeah, so like this is a little garden area, which I think is cool. Once again, you know, practical as well for if you're playing. And there's a little, it's either an insect box or a bee box. I can't tell the difference from either of them. But anyway, it's either or. Once again, it's something that you could use to have an eco house if you wanted to, or just to make like either honey or your insect grub beetle stuff. I don't know. But practical and useful, which I always appreciate in a house as well. If it looks good and it's usable, I mean, I'm a happy girl. So it took me a while just to work out that space, and then decided to leave it, and putting in another TV up above the fireplace, and then just finishing off the kitchen, putting a rubbish bin in the corner, and I don't know, oh yeah, I do a curtain. Okay, so we've got some blinds going in there, and this is going to be a bathroom going in behind here, but I actually ended up once again, it's that whole square thing, and just working out what I wanted to do with that space. And I decided that because it's downstairs and this is going to be quite a entertainment area, that it made sense to have a separate toilet. So I'm just making the toilet larger so that we can put the sink in there. So that can be a whole separate thing, and then there's a bathroom separate to that, so that's usable as well, obviously for people if they're staying, or whatever, the Sims are just downstairs and they gotten dirty out in the garden and they want to have a little wash downstairs rather than track the dirt through the house, then they can. But yeah, a separate bathroom kind of made sense to me because it's quite an entertainer's home. Yeah, so that's what I did, separate bathroom, and then I'm going to put another sink and another toilet in the other bathroom as well. So it's kind of like 1, 2, 3. Oh, actually, I think this ends up being 4 bathrooms altogether, plus I think the separate toilet. So it's almost like 4.5 bathrooms, which is quite awesome. You know, you can't ever have enough bathrooms. It's always nice to have a bathroom for each person, really, isn't it? Anyway, so going back to the bar area, just putting in the decoration behind there, and then we're going upstairs to one of the bathrooms upstairs. So it's just sort of each of the bedrooms upstairs. There's 3 bedrooms upstairs, and they each have an ensuite. So it's 3 bathrooms upstairs, and then 1.5 bathrooms downstairs. So yeah, 4.5 bathrooms, 3 bedrooms. Woohoo! And then yeah, so there's 2 en-suites that are just your basic shower, sink and toilet, and then there's a bigger ensuite which comes off from the master bedroom, which has the bath in it as well. And I'm just getting the bits and pieces in there and just working out how I'm going to lay that out, and using some of the fancy stuff too, like the swan throne, you know, the most throniest of thrones, and the swan bath as well. And I think, oh no, that's a different mirror. So using a bit of a divider in that room actually ended up working best for me, because it kind of felt like the toilet was off floating by itself. So yeah, I used a half wall there just to divide the room a little bit, because once again it was that big sort of square feeling, and I wanted to make it not so square, I guess is the best way to put that. Okay, so we're heading up into the master bedroom. So this is the bedroom that has the fireplace with it, and this took a little while to work out, because once again it's just working out the space and how I wanted to use it. So just putting in a wall there for the walk-in wardrobe. And then the bit that I really struggled with was how to use this corner with the fireplace, because I still wanted to have like a chair or something there so they could sit by the fireplace. But yeah, so that took me a little while. But I do love this lamp, but I ended up putting it in a really silly place, like, yeah, right there in front of the wardrobe. I put it there and I forgot about it. I mean, technically I think the wardrobe was still usable, but yeah, I do shift this. I shifted it when I was playtesting it. Because I kind of forgot it was there. But I actually really liked the blue that I pulled through into this room as well. I think it actually worked quite nicely. And I just put the candle making station in. I just wanted them to have like a hobby thing in their room, and I wanted to do something different. So I was like, candle making, that could be fun and different. So maybe there's like a soy plant down in the garden, and the character that you have in here is really into candle making, and that's fortunate because they've got a candle making station in their bedroom. There we go. And as well as obviously a computer and a lovely fireplace. And then we've got a kids room, so I just put a couple of beds in there, and they're just the cats and dogs kids bedroom. I actually really love the cats and dogs bedroom stuff for kids. I use it all the time. It's my favorite bedroom stuff for kids, really. So I happen to use it here as well because I really like it. And yeah, so just working out some of the curtains and the bedroom layout and that sort of thing. And then there's a third bedroom going in here, so like a guest bedroom slash, I don't know, older teen or something bedroom, or whatever suits. And obviously, I mean, you could take a bed out in the kids' room as well very easily, and just have that as a single room with more space if you wanted to as well. I mean, there's quite a bit of space in this, considering I mean, it's a 30 by 30 lot, so it's a decent size, but it's not huge, you know. So I think we've got a good size house out of it, which is quite cool. So I'm just kind of jumping around between rooms and just decorating as I see things and think of things, and just working out how to use, once again, use the space because it is quite a long bedroom space. So just working out what I want to do with that. And I've already got a walk-in wardrobe, so it's just you know, putting in what else I think works in the bedroom area. And because I've already got like a hobby thing in the other large bedroom, and we've got a study downstairs with hobby stuff, I didn't have a lot of hobby things that I did want to put in the bedrooms as such. So, and that's how I ended up with the candle making station, I think, upstairs. Because I already had like the flower arranging table downstairs, and I did have the option of the woodworking table, I guess, because I don't think I put this in this particular build, but I don't know, I just I don't know, went with the candle making rather than the woodworking, just for something different, because I always use the woodworking table, but I hardly ever use the candle making table, so I think that's why I ended up choosing it. So just getting some decorations into the house, so a lot of the artwork just going up on the walls at this point in time. And I think we must just about be at the point. Oh, we're just putting in a, what do they call it? Like a little mud coach hanger type thing. Yeah, anyway, in the hallway with it. And yeah, just putting in the artwork and that sort of thing. And changing over the lights. Because it's always nice to have a bit more of a fancy light option, but I'm always so wary of the lighting because so much of it hangs down and it can cause problems with the Sims getting around. So I do admit I do tend to use a lot of the same lighting because of that, because I like lighting to be not getting in the way of the Sims getting around. So yeah, I do get wary of how low things hang. So yeah, I quite often use a lot of the same lighting because of that, which is a shame because I'd like to use like different stuff, but yeah, that is what it is. So just using like the high school years chandelier above the dining room table, and I think that's the get to work lighting. Yeah, it is. It's the get to work lighting, and some lighting on the walls as well, so that we're nice and bright and can see what we're doing. And just the small lighting in the smaller spaces. Obviously, I did want to try that bigger lighting. I'm not sure if I keep that there though, because again, I was worried about it sitting too low for our Simmies. to get around. And now we're starting on the walls. What colours are we going to do? Sometimes I do that. I just will lay out the house and then I'll do the colours afterwards, or I'll do it room by room and then do the colours and stuff like that. It changes. Changes by the build. I don't know why, but yeah, sometimes I do it one way, sometimes I do it another way. So yeah, I'm just working out the flooring at this stage. So I went with, I don't know what it is called, but it's like quite a plain beigey kind of tile almost on the walls, which I actually think looked quite nice. And then I've got blue carpet at the moment, but I don't know if I keep that or not. I don't think I keep that. But it's just working out the colours on the study was quite tricky because it's got that sort of that shade of odd yellow. So I found that a little bit hard to match. The bedrooms weren't so bad because they sort of could go quite plain with those. And I actually really like that particular bathroom tile. I can't remember which pack that's from, but I really like that one. It's got a really pretty pattern to it, so I definitely used that. High school years by the looks of things. So there you go. High school years one. Yeah, and it's pretty. I'm just changing the windows there in the bathroom so that they sit properly behind the showers. That's what I'm looking for, showers. And once again, just working on the flooring and a bit of decoration there, popping that through, and just adding some pretty to the house. And curtains. Of course, we need curtains. Yeah, so just using, those are the Basegame curtains, aren't they? It took me a little while just to get that to sit properly. Yeah, so just using Basegame at this stage curtains. And then that one is Eco Living, I think. I think those are Eco Living, aren't they? And yeah, so changing those and going with something a little bit more fitting, I think, for that space. So a shorter curtain going above the bed. I think that works better. It's just something a little bit different too. I think that might be cats and dogs curtains actually. Is it? Can't remember. And so we're getting in some rugs. So adding some colour to the floor and making that pop a little bit with the different shades. Sort of like blues and beiges and that sort of thing. And like the eco living rugs actually worked really well with a lot of this as well, because it's just those blues and beiges and that sort of thing color palette with a bit of grey. But you know, you can't use that for every rug, so I had to choose some different rugs somewhere. So just working out on the walls for the kids' room. So ended up just going with like a bright blue in there and a brown in the spare bedroom. I think actually that looked quite nice because it popped out the lighter colour of the other brown bedding in there. So yeah, that was nice. Okay, so I think we've just got to do a little bit more on the outside. So we're getting there. I think we're getting to the end of it all. Still got some few things to go. Like I just noticed that we haven't done the mats downstairs either, the rugs downstairs, so we still need to do that too. So we're just adding some bits and pieces to the outside. I'm actually doing some lighting on around the fencing and bits and pieces at the moment, because I like to have the yards and stuff lit up for the Sims so they can get around and still see during the night time. So that's what I'm working on at the moment, just making sure that the place is suitably lit up. And I'm going to put some lighting on the roof as well, just for something different. I think that actually looks quite cool, lighting up the house like that. So that's what I did. There we go. Yeah, so that's nice and going to be nice and lit up for night time, for getting around. And I mean, your Sims often, well, I don't know about your Sims, but my Sims certainly are out and about during night time because their sleep pattern gets out of whack, and you know, they're up at 3 AM doing their things, getting their hobbies done, you know, that sort of thing, or up with the baby. So yeah, it's not a bad thing having a lit up property at night time, so you can still get on and do your things. Like you might want to be out in the garden at like 4 AM or something like that. It's still dark, but you'll be able to see, so that's cool. So there we go, all lit up at night time. Let's head inside, and we've got to do some more rug making. So we definitely need a rug to go underneath the dining table area, because we need to break that up, break up the flooring in that section. And I think we still need some decorations around in that area too. And we haven't got any clutter or anything in the bathrooms or in the kitchen either. So yeah. Oh boy, I guess we've got a little bit left to do. Oh, I love that particular rug. I think that's a really lovely rug. City Living, isn't it? Yeah, it's one of my favorite rugs, that big chocolate rug, because I like how it's got like the uneven edges and stuff. I think that's quite cool. Anyway, moving on back to the kitchen, and we're looking at clutter options. So it was nice to actually have some options when it came to clutter, because we've got a lot of the game pack stuff, is what I was trying to say. So yeah, I mean, you don't have any of the kit clutter and that sort of thing, but that's okay. I think you can still get quite a few bits and pieces in there, just to make it look like it's a real home, which is the idea behind the clutter, isn't it? Just to make it look more homely and lived in and that sort of thing. Even if there isn't a practical use for it all, and there is an environmental use in making your sim feel more at home, so that is still important. So don't forget about at least a little bit of clutter, I think, in decoration. So just changing the rug again under the dining area, because I just wasn't happy with that, and yeah, so I just wanted to change the colours there. Just getting a little bit more clutter into the kitchen. It is quite a large kitchen, so I think it can support a little bit of clutter. And I do like to have a little bit of greenery in the kitchen as well, if I can. And look, a microwave going in there if you want a quick meal, since we can't do quick meals through the fridges anymore, which I think is good, actually. Not so good if you're doing like rags to riches challenges with simple living challenge lots on, but hey, that's okay. That's the choices you make for gameplay, isn't it? And I'm just getting the last bit of decoration in around the house at this point. So I think we're just about done. I was looking at an idea for a statue, and I was like, nah. Just seeing things and trying them out really in the inventory index. What would you call it? Yeah. Okay, so we're done. Let's take a look at the house. So I was really happy with how the garden looked. I think it was really bright and kind of colourful and inviting, and I actually quite like the stone fence around the backyard as well. I think that actually worked with the vibe of the house, because it's kind of like a rustic modern feel to it, because it's got like you know, that multicoloured brick on the outside. I think that might be Get Famous brick, but yeah, I was super happy with how the colours turned out, so I think that's really cool. And yeah, so we're just going to head through the garden and into the house, through this lovely garden and backyard. I think that's going to be great for the kids, their backyard. And there's someone knocking at the door, but we're not going to let them in, because we're going to be doing some other things like taking a look at the house. So there's our kitchen. So we've got a coffee maker in there as well, and then going through to the living area. I really do actually like that wall tile. Go from the dining area through to the living area, and I was happy with how that turned out in the end. I think I did alright, even though it took me ages. You know, it's just one of those sections that just took a long time. And our dance floor area, so I think it's going to be great for socialising, this particular house. And into our study area with our odd yellow, but I actually think it works. I don't know why, I just think it does. And so moving across, just having another look there, and we've got someone in the kitchen having a wash up of the dishes. Going upstairs, this is the kids' bedroom upstairs in the blue. So I think that's really nice, and it's got an ensuite off to the side, which is that there, and then off to the master bedroom up here. As you can see, we've got a fireplace, a desk, and we've got the candle making station, a nice couch to sit on, so you know, nice little self-contained room. And then we've got the master bathroom off the side of that, and then into the extra double bedroom. I really like those curtains. I think they work really well with the chocolate, actually. So I think that's really nice. And then that's got a little ensuite off to the side there in the chocolate brown, which I think is quite lovely. Look at that. and that's our build. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. You can catch this on the gallery, VelvettB, TikTok VelvettB, Twitter VelvettB, YT, Pinterest VelvettB Sims, and yeah, thank you again. Bye!